If you are running your own brand and business right now and you do not have a podcast, you are missing out on a very powerful way to connect and engage with your audience. We at Addicted to Success have been able to garner over 4 million plays and downloads on our podcast. We've had all-star guests and we drive high conversions through our podcast. Think about this. When you have somebody listening to your podcast each and every day, whether they go into the gym, traveling in the car, going for a walk, getting ready for work, whatever it may be, they are spending that intimate time with you. This builds trust and it builds rapport, which equals more conversions, which equals a tighter, engaged community. A lot of people are trying to get more followers and trying to get more likes and spending lots of money through advertising online. And the truth is, people want to spend more time with you in order to see if they like your content. Podcasting is one of the most powerful ways to do this. I have created a course called Podcast Mastery, where I teach you how we've been able to get millions of plays and downloads through our podcasts, how we've had all-star guests, and how we built a podcast that is memorable. I'm going to teach you how to do this too. We also have a live Q&A group online that you get to learn from as well, and you get instant access when you enroll in this course. Make sure you head over to a2spodcast.com and get access today, and I'll see you in there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Addicted to Success podcast. I'm your host, Joel Brown, and I'm here today with a beautiful young woman that has crushed it in life. Her name is Hither Mann. She's all the way out there in the UK. And there's so many amazing things that Hither has been able to achieve over the years. She runs the Fortune Academy. She's an international speaker. She is a Forex trader, a property investor, a multiple business owner, an author, and a wealth educator. There's so many things going on here. And, you know, Hither, the way that she shows up is just really awesome to see her show up as such a strong and powerful leader in this space of teaching people how to leave the 9-to-5 grind to live an epic life. Now, if you have wanted to know for so long, how do I do this? How do I leave the 9-to-5? How do I learn how to trade Forex safely? How do I become successful in this passive income space? Hither is going to break this down for you. So stay tuned for this episode here. Hither, thanks a million for jumping on. I'm excited to dive into these conversations with you.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you so much. I'm actually in south of France right now. So just a little, yeah.
Okay, which part? Are you in Nice? Are you in Cannes? Where are you?
I have a villa near Cannes, and obviously I'm in Monaco a lot. I'm looking for an apartment there, but you know, they're tiny. I need to find the right view, etc. But that's going to happen at some point.
Nice. I remember watching a video a little while back. You were sharing that you live in the countryside.
Yes.
And do you have a house there, or like why the countryside? Break this down real quick.
Yeah, so I feel like, for example, the reason I've got a villa with a sea view and mountains is kind of the country version of south of France. So I am always a country person. Not that I grew up that way, but the reason I love it so much is because it gives me so much peace and clarity from, I'm in a like a very male dominated industry, finance, business, property. It's fast moving. It's a lot of stressful decisions. People don't make decisions well when they're under stress. And I feel that when I'm enclosed with buildings upon buildings in front of me, and if I go to a little apartment and I'm just surrounded by more buildings, I don't feel happy. I'll be very honest. I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm burning out very quick. So I think it's a stress mechanism for me. And I feel that best decisions are made when you're actually congruent with your spiritual self, as well as the bigger picture. Some people get sucked up in a whirlwind of making money the wrong way. And that's something I'm very conscious of not doing. So I need that sort of sanity in my life. And that's the country for me.
Wonderful. I love it. And I feel that too. I live here in Bali in Indonesia.
I love it.
So
I've been there 3 times.
Yeah,
I've been to Ubud, I've been to Singaraja, I've been to obviously Seminyak and all of the nice, beautiful places. Yeah. So I've been there 3 times. It was like my go-to place every time, every year for a long time, about 3 years. And then I just hated the long haul flight. That's what happened.
Fair enough. I don't blame you. You've got so many options in Europe as well. So you're in an awesome spot. All right. So let's dive into this here, this whole vision that you've been able to manifest in your life. I love this conversation around vision. I teach it a lot. You know, our Addicted to Success audience is very much about living in their vision. So if you could rewind it back to the day or maybe the moment or the year where you said, you know what, I'm going all in, no bars held, I'm diving into my vision. What was that experience like? And how can some of the listeners that are listening to this right now and watching this too, how can they start implementing these steps?
Well, thank you. Great question. I think everyone needs to figure out that point when they got obsessed with their new journey. I have to admit, it was very young, 9 years old. I remember my parents arguing, and I grew up with my parents arguing about money. So it was pretty obvious for me what I needed to do. I was just a young kid, naive, and thinking that, okay, making money must be the answer to everything. Like if they had more money, they'd be happier. And obviously money buys power, not happiness. But what you do with it is where I was trying to go. And eventually so very quickly, my dad was, you know, I became obsessed with watching how businessmen, and mainly men, I didn't have any female examples, and I watched how they made money. I tried to understand the people who had money, and they all had businesses. They all were like, you know, employing staff, and they all just were doing this big thing, no fear. So I became obsessed with, okay, can't wait to grow up and be working and get money. And then obviously I got the standard advice that everybody gets, which from a traditional family. My family is traditional, and they just thought that education was everything. So I did the acing the grades, and I just became like this academic person. Eventually I realized that wasn't the answer, and then I went into real business, like property and then financial trading. So I learned from real business people, and that's something that is a shame that is not taught in education as we know it. That's why I love doing things like you and me are doing, you know, like telling people the real stuff. And that's why I thought, well, let's not complain about the education system. Let's create our own, you know, and this is what Fortune Academy is all about.
Yes. I love this. And you know what really stood out to me when I came across your profile on Instagram a little while back? I know we initially connected and we've circled back around. I remember at the time, I saw your profile and I saw that you were actually teaching hands-on things, because there are a lot of people that talk about creating wealth and they talk about the mindset behind it, but we don't know whether that actually gets results or not, you know, because it's easy to just parrot information. So yeah. I do love that you're hands-on, that you teach strategies. Can you share with us, when you started trading in Forex, what do you think was different that you did that most people aren't? Because I know there's a 90 to 95% fail rate for those that jump into Forex because they're literally gambling, right?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, the first 8 or 9 months I was gambling and I lost so much money. 200K in 2 days was my turning point. And I thought, well, I can't carry on doing this. This was hard earned cash. You know, I came from nothing. So for me, losing any kind of money was annoying. But getting to the point of losing 200K in literally overnight, like I remember one day it was minus 110 and I was like, maybe it'll come back. And the next day, 200K. And I was like, oh, you know, I was crying. It was like as if someone had died. It was like pretty bad, you know. So
wait. Well, how much were you trading at? Were you trading at like 5.0 or 10.10?
Well, it was only £500,000 account, but I grew that from like a small amount, like 50K, and I was doing well, you know. And but I wasn't, you know, anyone can make a small amount of money grow really quick, but keeping that money is the whole thing that is different. Like anyone can gamble, you know, and have a lucky punt and just say, yeah, I've made something grow from this size to, and this was in an 8-month period or less that I grew it. So I was gambling. I mean, I had no idea how much risk I was taking. I just was punching in numbers and be like, yeah, that looks nice. And then just like riding the wave, you know, it was so bad. And the thing that was different is that when I lost that money, I was literally that close to failure. I thought, I obviously don't know what I'm doing. I need to go back to what I know, which is property and maybe, I mean, I was a medical professional as well. So I thought I could even do that, and thought of actually going back to a job was what really did it for me. Like I was so like, oh my God, I'd rather die or I'd rather work behind a bar. I would not want to do that again. So the difference was that I actually thought, well, how did I get good at property? And then I remembered I had mentors. I had proper experts who are way better than me in that field. So I actually had to go and find a mentor in London. So I learned from a trader one-on-one. And that was the hardest bit, because the difference in most people, that I don't believe that you can be a self-taught trader that well unless you understand from a real professional what they're doing, and someone who's got a hedge fund, someone who's actually built their own cash, got loads of money under management, like $1 billion approximately. Then they're actually trading. If they're doing well at that point for years, at least 4 years, and I lasted 8 months and blew my account almost, so until I learned from a trader, that was the difference. So that took me 3 years, and he took away all my bad mistakes. And it was a tough journey. It wasn't a simple case of, oh, come here, I have a course for you. It was none of that. It was, dog eat dog, didn't give me any time of day, didn't believe in me, thought I was just this woman who had money, and was like, I don't want to speak to you really, but you're still annoying me, so I have to kind of talk to you. So the difference was I was persistent. I literally learned from the bottom up, as if you were in military school, as if you were, thrown in at the bottom rank and no respect. And that's what kept me going, because I thought, well, one day I'm going to earn that knowledge and respect. And 3 years later, I did. So I don't think many people have that tenacity. And that's the difference. If people can't deal with rejection these days. So I feel the difference is down to how tough is your outer layer and inner core. If you can handle rejection, then you can handle trading.
Yes. Sounds like you're addicted to success, Hither.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, and in a healthy way, because I see what you're up to. I can see that you're making your money, yes, but you're also investing as well. And I love that. I think that some people can get in this cycle of just always trying to make money, but they're spending on things that aren't essentially good investments, So I like that. Real quick, what app did you use to trade with?
MetaTrader 4. So I don't use an app. I use a laptop or software on it's free. So you can use, I wouldn't recommend trading off a phone ever. I hate it. I mean, if I had to, I would maybe just look to exit a trade. But you learn from software that's called MetaTrader 4, which is, or 5 now, they've got upgrades. That is free. It's charting software. Then you have to link it to a broker, and then the rest is down to you. So you've got pricing from the markets, etc. And if you get really good, and then you can link it to Bloomberg terminals, and then you can trade like that. So it depends how far you want to go. Yeah,
nice. I've got MetaTrader 5 on my app right now, and I might have to check out the desktop version. I've been playing with trading for about 4 months, and I know what you mean, because you can get this kind of like this itch to want to increase quickly, and You've got to work out where your margins are. You obviously don't want to crash your margins out in trading, because you can lose everything, which obviously it sounds like what happened to you in that sense. And you do become addicted. Like, one of the things that I notice, I teach a lot around managing your mindset, and even with my students, I say, like, be careful of like what's feeding you. And I noticed even with myself, I was like, oh my gosh, I could become bipolar doing this, because your ups and your downs. Do you ever experience that? It's like your big win days, you feel happy.
Not now. I mean, maybe back in 2000. I mean, I had started this journey in 2008 at the beginning when I was doing it solo. Yeah, I was yo-yoing. My emotions were high, low. Hence, when I lost, I was like crying, and it's ridiculous. But after you get proper training, especially this is how I teach at Fortune Academy, I detach you from money. That's a spiritual process. That's not something that can happen overnight. That means you've got to really dig deep into your ego, figure out, what does money mean to you? Why do you put it on a pedestal? As soon as you remove it off a pedestal and realize that this is a man-made thing, I am bigger than this, and I can actually control my emotional process and create money because I respect it, not because I need it, and that's the difference. When you respect the process, when you respect that you have to be bigger than money, because as soon as you make big money bigger than you, it controls you. You're on a string. You win, you feel great. You lose, you feel like, oh my God, I'm a failure. So that's the problem with trading. It's such a raw experience. It's harder than property. It's harder than any other business I've tried, because in those kind of businesses, you can hide behind the product, you can hide behind the property, you can hide behind people. There is no people in this. This is just you in a chart, and it's just your demons in between. And that's the scariest thing. And that's why I'm obsessed with making sure people's mindset is strong enough before they come onto my training. And if it's not, I get them to that point. So it is crazy how much mindset is a factor in trading. 100% needed.
I love that. I love it. And you mentioned earlier that you were in a male dominated industry. What
Yeah, still
advice
am.
would you give to women out there?
Oh my gosh, I wish more women would try it. You know, like I just want, I actually have a little bit of a problem with women in the sense that I want more of them to just grab opportunity in terms of financial opportunity by the horns. They kind of take the second seat, like they just kind of happy with second place. And I'm sick of that. Like I am the first female educator in Forex, speaking in, before COVID, like speaking on stages, thousands of people every time. I'm the first female doing that. That's a ridiculously bad statistic. I'm hoping I'm not the last, and I've created inspiration in women for doing the same thing, which I love and I want to see more. But for women, I'm just going to tell you, like, you need to just feel understand what's intimidating you. Like, why are you intimidated of the male and dominated world? I never was. I like hanging out with men and females. Men actually are sometimes easier to work with because they can take it on the chin. There's not much grievance with, oh my God, you offended me. Now I'm going to just, talk about it to my friends. And just, I don't know, some women, not the ones I work with, but some women seem to be far too offended when things get tough. They take it personally, whereas men see it as it is objectively and just be like, okay, that's good and that's not good. This is what we need to change and let's get on. They're a little bit more objective. So my advice to women would be just, there is no difference, and just enjoy the process. But ask yourself why you're not doing it. I think that's the bigger question.
Yes, yes. One of the other reasons why I really wanted you to jump on here is because I know a lot of people are looking for opportunities now because of COVID.
Yes.
They may be working a 9 to 5. Maybe they've been let off their job. Maybe their business didn't work out quite well for them. And I think a lot of people have realized, like, wow, it's important to have a few streams or multiple streams of income coming in. Do you believe that anyone and everyone is able to do Forex trading?
In terms of implementation, yes, it's not difficult. It's either, you buy and sell, or you have to learn. But the reading of the chart is also easy, like understanding what candlesticks mean. And yes, this thing isn't going up, therefore I make money from buying. But the hard bit is the emotional baggage that they haven't dealt with. And also, because, when they're going to win, they're going to feel good. An amateur trying to trade will feel good when they make money because it doesn't challenge their ego. But as soon as they lose, the default process is, damn it, I can't believe this one got the better of me. I'm going to chase my losses and I'm going to go in again twice as high. Like, I'm going to get this thing to work for me. And that's where things become a gamble. And that's where it spirals out of control. You start losing more money than you've ever thought of. And that's when, real damage gets caused mentally, emotionally, whatever, financially, obviously. So yes, everyone can do it. And I feel 100% you mentioned that everyone needs to take it more seriously now. Something they have to create other than a single income that they were probably relying on. I do feel it's super easy though. That's why I created the fast Forex system, dead easy. Like, we've got 100% success rate when people follow it. Touch wood, like, they all make money, because we've even got a guarantee on, money back guarantee, saying if you don't make money, which we don't believe you ever will say that to us, but we will give you money back, because that's how much I believe it works, and it does. So we've had 100% success rate on that. Very happy.
Wow. That is huge. That's an incredible promise. Most people can't promise that. So I love that. That's awesome. I saw a video that you shared on YouTube. And if anyone's listening or watching this right now, make sure that you go to YouTube and check out Hither Mann. Okay. You'll be able to find her on there. HITHERMANN. And there's a video that you shared about giving someone £2 million. What was that about?
Yes, now that's exactly why I actually wanted to come into the industry. So in 2014, when I started, the journey wasn't as simple. I never wanted to be an educator, I'll be honest. So initially I was just happy being a private individual, doing my thing, trading, property, that was it. And other businesses came just because I had time. But at that point, I'll go back to 2012. 2012, I was in the National Achievers Congress. I was in London. I don't know if you were there, maybe not, because you are from a different part of the world.
I went to the one in Australia. Yeah. Was
So
it with Tony Robbins or was it with someone else?
yeah, Tony Robbins was there. Then we had the British like entries, like Alan Sugar, which is like a big guy in business in London. And then we had Richard Branson, which I'm sure you know of. Yeah. And then we had Donald Trump, which I'm sure everyone knows who he is. So he was speaking, everyone was speaking, and the promoters, I mean, it was a 3-day event. Yeah, 3-day event. And I was there every day. You know, I loved seminars because I was addicted to education, the world of education, you know, this type of education. And the promoter was with me. He was my friend. Like we were just hanging out because they knew me from just business, right? So one thing that really annoyed me at 2012, there was one female speaker and I was super excited to watch. I was like, yes, females, tell me what you're going to do. And her conversation was how to dress. I was like, is that it? Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? I know, look how embarrassing. Like, even you're cringing. Like, this is so cringy. I was like, there's more to women in this world than how to dress. Like, come on. I know that there is like super successful women out there. They're just not showcasing their skills. And I was there complaining about it to the promoter. And he said, look, you know, what's wrong with you? Why can't you do it? I was like, oh, I never thought of that, you know, like I never wanted to speak. So I was terrified at the thought of speaking on a massive stage. But then I thought, well, you know what? This industry is so tainted. Like everybody is labeled a scam. I still get it, like Hither Mann scam and stuff like that, because they just assume Forex equals scam. And there's a bad reputation behind Forex. So I thought, how can I differentiate myself from everyone else? And I said, wow, I understand now, having done it myself, how difficult it is. It's not easy. But the thing that makes all the difference is having a bigger account. And I feel that most people, when they trade Forex, they start off with something really tiny. And it's not their fault. They can't afford to put, you know, hundreds and thousands or whatever in the account. And that's what makes it risky, because they try to take so much risk on each trade to grow the account fast. So my problem, I thought, well, if I teach Forex, it's no point me telling people how to trade if they haven't got the money. So I'm going to bring the money to them. So because I was already in the hedge fund world, my business was very simply, I used to have footballers or high net worth property guys putting money into a fund. I would get, you know, revenue split from the fund. So it was very easy industry for me. It's just like referral. I spoke to the hedge funds and said, would you guys be able to work with me? And I put some money in and we'll put money together and put it out and create new traders. They were like, yeah, if you can create great traders, we're always looking for great traders. So that is what I'm doing. So when I teach people through Fortune Academy, the aim is that I can give them up to £2 million a head. You know, and it might take 3 years to train them to that level, because mentally they need to be right. I know they'll get the strategy, but mentally is my job. And then they take 25%. That's £200,000 a year, potentially, for using 1 hour a day. I mean, that's the beginning. If they're really that good, we'll throw money at them, because the hedge funds have billions under management and they look for good traders. They don't have enough good traders out there. So it's hard to create a good trader, but that's what I'm doing at Fortune Academy. And then 2 million is the small money in this hedge fund world. Like, that's not considered a big deal, but I'm happy to put 2 million on the table, not just me, but like linked with them, and we'll give a profit split. So I will take the same as my trader and the rest goes into the hedge fund. So it's a very much a win-win deal. And, you know, it's kind of like a no-brainer. So if you guys can get on it, I would, because unless you've got 2 million yourself, you know, then you should consider it.
I like this. I lost. Actually, it's so interesting because when I say the word I lost, I don't even know if I want to say that. Like $6,700 left my trading account. Okay. It was in the negatives and I closed out because it hit the stop loss. It just kept going. And I'm happy it did, because it probably would have got to like 10,000, 11,000 as I watched the British pound just continue to just climb, and I was on a sell. And that day, it was really interesting. Something switched in me. I was like, I'm actually really happy that happened, because I was okay with it happening, which meant that my money mindset went to a whole new level. Now, do I want to do that again? No, I want to be smarter this time. But to know, like, I feel like we create these kind of inner like parameters within ourselves on how much we consider to be big money and little money. And it's like your mind stretches to a certain capacity that you just won't accept anything else anymore outside of it, or what was less than before. So if there's anything that you are able to even take from giving Forex a shot, or going through Hither's programs, just know it's going to teach you so much about money mindset. I looked at money in a very different way after I started trading. I used it as a tool. I got really clear on why it was important for me to make money. And as I was profiting in Forex trading, I would assign goals to my profits. So I'd say, okay, if I make this much, then I'm going to, buy this. If I make this much, I'm going to put this much into my account. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess the major thing that you have overlooked because you lost money, it's risk management. And it's not just any risk management. Everyone's heard of risk management, but I've actually studied hedge funds, and I'm a very obsessive studying kind of person, but I've literally foolproofed the risk management system. It's called the rolling risk management system. I've trademarked it. It's the best in the world. It's better than hedge funds. Hedge funds can't even argue with it. We are 100% foolproof. So if you have that system in place, as in if I teach everybody this, it's like a module in my fast track Forex. I actually brought it from the top level education and put it in my beginner level, because it's like foolproofs the whole thing. If you follow that, you cannot blow your account. And I'm holding people to that. Like, you cannot blow your account. So even Joel, if there was one thing I taught you, it was just,
let's do it.
Yes. You would never, ever lose more than you ever, if you were risking 100%, then yes, you are aware that you may blow it. But if you're not risking it, if you're risking 10% of your account, the rolling risk management system is that good that maximum you will lose is 10% or less, because it's that solid. Obviously trading error only, but if there is something like a Swiss franc crash that happened in 2015 or something, that's not involved in this. Something the markets do is different, i.e. if the brokers just pull the plug and your charts just switched off, and the whole thing just had a massive slippage, that doesn't count. But everything trading related, so every position you take, every trade you take, even when they start going wrong, the rolling risk management protects you from losses that you will never want to incur. So it's very good. When you've got that, you feel safe, you don't have sleepless nights. It makes all the difference, and you cannot lose anything by surprise. So you need that. Everyone needs that. Yeah.
The thing I like about Forex trading too is what goes up must come down, what goes down eventually goes back up, right? So, and I get it. There's a lot of different strategies that can be created around it. And I love that you've committed yourself to experimenting and to learn from the best of the best as well, to bring the best strategy. So yeah, definitely check out Hither's course. They can reach you on Instagram, right? Or YouTube?
Yeah, you can. I will probably give them a link to one of my team, just to have a free chat. They don't even have to buy anything. I don't want to sell anything to anyone. I just want them to reach out to my team and just figure out what's right for them, because I don't actually recommend Forex if you're completely skint broke. Like, I actually tell my team I've trained to say no to some people. So if they're like completely, absolutely broke, I'm like, get a job so that you're not relying on the Forex to pay your bills yet, After 6 months, if fingers crossed you're following the system and everything's working out, then maybe we can start building that thing. But I don't allow people to take money out of it from day one. I say incubate that Forex account for 6 months, let it grow. When you can afford to let that account grow for 6 months and not touch it and still actively trade it, that's when you're ready. So you've got another income stream paying. And then eventually the shift from Forex taking over your income is easy, because then I will give you a strategy on how to replace your income with Forex. But yeah, so I would say best thing for them, Joel, is just the link that I will give you is just, speak to my team, and they can just reach out, or they can reach out to my team through my Instagram, of course, at Hither Mann.
Yeah, that's right. There's a link in your bio and all that too. What would you say would be a great base point to start at for anyone that says, you know what, I really like this conversation and I do want to, explore this? What would be a good starting point financially for someone to invest in trading?
Some of my beginners have started with £500 and then to a couple of thousand starting point. So it's not like a huge amount, but I would say 500 is the absolute minimum. I don't set minimums because brokers actually do that. I'm not a broker and I don't want to be. But if, I'd say just put as much as you can put aside, and then you'll take it more seriously, because you won't want to blow that thing. You'll be very careful with it. So as long as you're careful with the money that you put in there, I will respect any amount you put in, to be honest. So even if it's a little bit less, but I don't allow demo trading. So I'm not sure what you might have done. I know I started off demo trading, and that's possibly what's messed around with my head. Someone said, oh, demo trade for 3 months and then you'll be good. And demo trading gives you all the fake money mindset, because you think you're good and you're not good, because as soon as you start losing a little bit of real money, you start having a meltdown. So I don't allow people to trade fake money. So it's got to be real from day one. That's why I say make it money that you are going to respect. So then you'll do better. You'll learn better from the very beginning.
Yeah, I did the same thing as you. I just went straight into using money first.
Good.
I had some similar advice from someone that warped their sense of their wins, you know, and I think you can, you know, because you can set the base limit, and they set it at like $100,000, and I'm like, but do you actually have 100,000 to put in? And they're like, no. So every time you increase, you got to work out how much you're willing to put in for each trade. So yeah, I like this. I like that you're breaking this down. I know that you now are in a space where you have properties in multiple locations. You've got a great academy running, thousands of students that have gone through there. I'd say tens and tens of thousands that have learned from you over the years, and stages around the world, all these awesome things. Was there a point in your life where you just felt like, damn, I'm at like struggle town with this right now? And how did you break through it?
With when I've done through this journey of after getting on, that probably has happened every, like twice a year, 3 times a year, every year.
Yeah.
You know, where I'm like,
real.
yeah, like every year I'm like, God, this is too much. I want to quit, you know, but that's usually the overwhelm that comes with I've scaled really fast and I haven't got the right staff. So I just understand why. So very often I get to that point and I think, well, what's happening? It's either me, I'm not getting enough sleep, or if I burn out, then that's me. That's at fault, you know, because it's very easy to burn out, because you're working for yourself 7 days a week sometimes, and you don't take time out for you. That's my problem, nobody else's, so I cannot blame anyone. But then my team is really important, so I just become very objective. So I actually don't mind that happening. So when that does happen, I'm thinking, hey, this is a good thing. What can we change now? And now I've actually made sure every month I implement a change. And now, if I'm really honest, every week I have a team debrief and I think, right, what can we do better this time? So I try and avoid it happening, but I know it will. I mean, and that's natural because I take on too much. I'm doing IPOs, I'm buying companies, I'm taking them public. That's why I moved to Monaco, etc. So, you know, I definitely can't cope with everything at one time, but that's where you need to have a good team, take time out, you know, and just have some me time scheduled every week, and you won't lose the plot. The bottom line is I absolutely love it. So if someone said, oh, well, would you stop and forever stop? But no, because for me, the bigger picture is I want to leave a legacy, and I'm sick and tired of complaining about how life isn't as good. You know, I don't complain anymore, but there was a moment in my life where I'd look at people and think, well, this is not good enough. Like women are not doing enough, and there's a pay gap difference, or men are like this or whatever. But I just wanted to fix that, you know, and then I might as well become that little change that can help other people in the world. And now I can't think of ever stopping Fortune Academy ever, because it's a legacy. It's way bigger than me. And what the audience of Fortune family is more important than me. That's the reality. And that's why I keep doing this, because it's never about me, to be honest. It's always about them. And I'm just helping them along a journey. So I love it.
Yeah, I love this. I'm going to go a little bit deeper with you here. Okay?
Yeah, I love it.
Talking
yes.
Spiritual before. I want to talk kind of emotional, maybe a little bit into the sexual energies as well, because I think this is a really, cool. You're like, well, okay.
Yeah, it's cool.
The feminine and the masculine. This is a big conversation that keeps showing up. And I feel like it's kind of new to the entrepreneurial space. It is, you know, common in the spiritual space.
Okay.
I know some women are probably hearing this and thinking to themselves, oh yeah, but like, do I need to be in my masculine quite a lot? And then you have some women that stay in their masculine all the time in a quote unquote, like man's type of world or male dominated industry. How do you navigate this? And does it affect your relationship in any kind of way?
Okay, so really important questions, and I'm glad you asked because it does affect the people you have in your life. I mean, for example, let's do the relationship one. So very quickly, that one is a factor because I would classify myself as a go-getter, very alpha in some ways. But yet when I dissected my company, even with a brand and PR specialist in London, they were like, your company is very female. And I was expecting the opposite. I was like, oh, so I am still female. This is great, you know? So I thought like I've taken over this male dominated world. I've become a man in the process. And it's not the case. It actually, in a relationship, you have to be with a very secure man. That's what I've noticed. So women, yes, you are going to struggle when you're an alpha or someone who's like, you know, high earner. If you don't have a male counterpart or even female, you know, like, or anyone you're with that is super secure with their life, they are going to have a problem with it. I'll tell you from firsthand examples I've had when I was dating before I met my partner. Now, I had so many bad situations where I was with an alpha male, and I actually thought that alpha male was my kind of other half. It should have been, you know, and I thought, okay, maybe I need this super alpha, like crazy person, like this extrovert. And they absolutely hated when I was running the show in any kind of little dynamic. Like I would happily be like the little princess, just take me out and like, let's just have fun. And like, I do that all the time. But they like that part of me. But as soon as I'm like doing my thing, making more money maybe than them or whatever, that was a major, major problem, trust me. And then there was another guy. The only person who was okay with it was a guy that was 10 years older than me. That was pretty cool. But he was like, I don't know, some mafia lord of some sort. I had no idea. Like the only reason he was okay with it. Yeah, because he ended up doing stuff that I had no idea he was doing, which was completely like off the rack. I was like, whoa, do I want to be in this space? No. So that didn't last very long. So my point is like, you can be with a very alpha person. There's no right and wrong. You've got to navigate yourself. But for me, I wanted someone who would allow me to be me. And I allow them to be them, you know, and that involved a very secure person. So I'm not telling women that, oh, you should only be with a guy that is subservient to you. No, I don't have that. Like I'm with George and he can be very annoying sometimes and he doesn't listen to me and I don't listen to him. You know, it's like normal dynamics in a relationship, but he's so secure as a male. He had money. He has his own money. He has his own self-worth. He doesn't need me to make him feel better or worse, you know, so that was important. That's all I look for, someone who's self-sufficient financially. They don't need me, I don't need them, but we are very, like, he treats me loads, like he still kept me like a little princess, which I loved, because if you lose that, for me, I felt that was unattractive for me, you know, like to still find a guy that can treat you like a princess was nice. And it gets harder though when you are like a super go-getter female. Some women really find it tough. I certainly did. It took me a long time to get into a good relationship space. In terms of how I navigate myself, super easy. I mean, men are amazing. I find working with men super easy because they are they're very happy to see women do, like they actually find it more impressive for a female to do what I'm doing compared to a male doing what I'm doing. So it actually is the underdog spirit is what has got me this far. Like I always see myself as an underdog. I'm hanging around billionaire men in Monaco and you know, they might see me as an underdog, but they will talk to me because they're like, she actually has a pretty solid brain up there that knows what we do, like the company acquisitions, the process of the IPO, whereas another male, they're actually more competitive with. So I feel it works really well. And with women, I actually change my tone a lot. So I'm very different with women. I allow them to be like the alpha and I always am subservient. So I mold to the people in front of me. So I know when to keep my authority and I know when to take it away. So with women, I take it away. I completely I'm very open with them. But with men, it depends on the guy. Like if they're really old fashioned male chauvinist, I have to really stand up and play to my strengths because they don't take you seriously. But then there are some really cool, 20th century, 21st century men, and they are nice. And then you can just be yourself, which is fine. But you really have to learn how to read the dynamics. You got to read the aura, read the dynamics. Like I can read people's aura very quick and see how to navigate from them. So there's not just one side of me. There has to be, you got to mold for the situation.
Yeah, I'd imagine it would take quite a lot of emotional intelligence and emotional fitness too over time, being in these conversations with people that are, let's say, financially or within their definition of success, being crushing it for so long. There is that power that comes with that. And I think sometimes that can be intimidating for some people that aren't there. So, and I could imagine too, as a woman, because I do, I work with a lot of female entrepreneurs, and I do hear that they've got to be very strict with their boundaries as well. Because some men that are used to power and having that, they try it on you a little bit. So I'd imagine you've had probably quite a bit of
in my early 20s, yes, but I was very cutthroat. So I knew how, when I was a bit naive, that was a problem. So maybe in my early 20s, I don't have that problem now. I'm 38 now, so I'm cool. I'm past that stage.
You're 38? No way.
Yes.
Damn, I thought you were like early 30s. You're doing well.
Thank you. Yeah.
Routines are working for you.
The me time works, right? No, but you're right. At the beginning, I used to actually have a major problem. So my 20s were very turbulent mentally, because I was thinking, wow, do I like this world or do I hate this world? Because the secret part of me hated it. I hated the men. I hated the way they would try and hit on you for just being like a female, the only female in the industry. And then they would try and take advantage, because they were used to being this powerful person. And as soon as you said no, sometimes they were like, we don't want to talk to you again. It would become personal very quick. But that's because I was allowing it to be that way. I wasn't putting the boundaries up. I just being like, you know what, I'm in business. I'm not trying to be your friend. So that was the difference. As soon as I realized that, and you're very right, you need emotional intelligence. And it took me years of understanding human behavioral psychology. I've read books and books of it behind me. And I've had so many peak performance coaches in that. So I'm like a junkie when it comes to self-development. So I learned from the best in the world about human behavioral psychology, and I still do. And that's what really saved me, because when I understood the power play, the ego, the problem that these guys were having, that I don't deal with those now, obviously, but if I did come across anyone like that, easy, no problem at all. Like, they don't have any power over me the way I would feel when I was 22. So it's a big difference. And I'm glad that you talk about it, because it's an important area for women and men to know. So, yeah.
Yeah, good. I feel like we got both sides of the coin there on that conversation. So I like that you covered that too. You said you had some mentors. Who are a few of your mindset mentors, and even just money-based mentors, financial mentors?
Okay. Yeah, really good. Now, money. Okay, let's go with the mindset, because I started off with the mindset people first. Yep. Mindset was the first book I read was Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. Oh, yeah. This one is really, really good. I bought 3 copies of it since, and this is because they got really tatty after a while. And this is classic book. Not many people probably talk about it as much now, but this was my first book I read, 2004 or 2003, and then I became addicted. I've done the DeMartini work. He's great. I love the guy. And then I've been everywhere. Like, Tony Robbins was obviously someone that was a big presence. I didn't do any of his training, but his events were amazing when I saw him in National Achievers Congress and whatever. And I watch his YouTubes. I watch everything. Obviously, YouTube before that, Jim Rohn, loads and loads of it, Zig Ziglar, anyone. Who else from the top of my mindset? I ended up doing Tim Grover. Tim Grover is my most recent. I love the guy. The guy he's like the dad I wish I had. If I had to pick a dad character, that would be him. I think he'd be pretty scary though. But he's cool. He's really cool. So I actually, he's my peak performance coach as well. I have used various people you've never heard of as well, just based on, I actually, for a long period of time, and I'm still looking for peak performance coaches. Right now it's Tim, but I would pay anyone who could just pick out stuff in me that I haven't seen. That's so important. That's what helps me grow. So I love being put on dissected and saying, right, tell me what I should be working on. I love it. I'm always a student. Now, when it comes to money, I have learned a lot from real life people. I would be honest. Books are secondary. The real life money came from my mentors in property that were people in the UK initially. So they were 20 years older than me. So I'm 22 at the time, and they were at least 42 plus, a lot of them. So I learned from them, and I then learned from referrals from them to higher level financial advisors who are really bad, some of them. Then my best ones came from the financial world when I got introduced to hedge fund owners. That's where the big money is. Billions and billions and billions. I met billionaire here, bet billionaire there. Like now I have billionaires as my students. Like a guy that has a £2 billion hedge fund is working with me because he wants me to clear up his mind. So I don't believe many books teach as much as the real life people. However, books like this are really good. Like a bit of an insight. The one I was showing you, Joel, things that the deals that changed, that made the world. Reading the real life stuff, and Ray Dalio. If I had to pick, although he doesn't talk about money, he's more about principles. Like I study the principles behind the wealthy guys. Making money is dead easy. You just need to have a really solid team around you. But then, there are good money mentors out there. Now I put in practice what I do and show and teach my business owner mentees, etc. So it can be taught really well.
Love it. I believe that we must garner an investor mindset in order to really multiply our money. When I look at the Forbes top list of the wealthiest people in the world, 85% of them are investors, right? Yes. And obviously you've been playing in this space for a while. How do you view investing? Is there something you can share with us that you feel like is a very common thought in your mind, that if we were able to also embody that too, that would be a great way to view investing?
Okay. Yeah. Investing is everything, but people are naive when it comes to investing. And even I was, and hence I say it is, everyone knows the building blocks of making wealth. Like they see properties in there. Oh, tech's in there. Oh, trading's in there. Businesses are in there, but they just put the money, they throw money at this thing, hoping that it will grow. So I'll give you an example. Like my first property investment was a scam. Actually, it was actually referred to by my accountant. Can you believe it? My own accountant said, invest in this off-plan stuff. The guys here, it's good. I'm doing some too. And it was a scam. Like, that's what I mean. Like, don't listen to accountants. And none of these people are actually that good. Honestly, I had to be 10 steps ahead of everyone. I had to learn the law myself. I had to learn tax law, and I'm doing an event on tax-free stuff. But I have to keep it educational because you cannot say tax advice. But the point is, you can't trust financial advisors. Like I put people in. Now when I teach people, I don't come across as I tell people I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not going to sell your financial product. I don't want to do that. I want to make you aware of how this world and the law works. You make up your mind. Like I put the power into them. Financial education is everything. When I understood what makes property work and how property deals make money, that's when I made the money. So I started buying really cheap property, and I still got them. So the point, the best advice would be really learn about it. Like, for example, I did Forex before I ever thought about the stock market. I did Forex and I mastered it. It took me a long time to master it, and I learned from the best, in my opinion, at the time. I didn't do stocks because I didn't find a stock trader mentor that I resonated with. And then when I did learn it, I actually wanted to create the stock instead because I was fascinated at how stock price moves. So now I'm not into buying and selling stocks. I'm actually creating stock, putting that in the public market because I've got market makers, I've got hedge funds, I've got asset management licenses, etc., that I can actually use and do and play the money game the way it's supposed to be played. I control the process as much as possible. Like you create great companies, or not create, acquire companies, create this incredible IPO process. Money comes from the public. So now I do study, though. You're very right. I do study the rich and see, well, what are they doing? And there's tech in there. There's stuff like steel, oil, and I'm like, well, I don't know anything about that. And I won't invest in things like that in a hurry. So I don't have to be a master of everything. I will just get really deep into some of the industries. It'll take me like a 3-year period whereby I'll go all in. Then I will spin that plate, and then the rest of the place is still spinning. So like the property one's been spinning for a long time. The Forex has been spinning for a long time. The IPO stuff is spinning right now. And now I've got a tech company that I have launched. And that's like my big finale, you know, like tech is incredible. And that's why I'm building my social media, because this tech app is equivalent to like a Robinhood, and it's going to be more friendly. And I study and I've met up with some of the big players internationally that have tech. And yeah, I learn from them, you know, so I can't say that I'm a genius. I've created myself. I've got the guy who created Candy Crush is my student, you know, so like he's one of my trader students, and he's created my app. So I'm very excited when I do launch this thing. It's going to be like very exciting. So yeah, you know,
Wow.
I guess investing is everything though. It's everything.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I love it. You just took us on a journey. You literally taught us the levels of how you've built your career. Yeah. And I'm sure this has inspired a lot of people here. Hopefully a lot of women are listening to this right now and going, you know what? I see inspiration in that. I see hope in that. And I'm really hoping that they reach out to you as well to get a good start. So yeah, you're doing amazing things in this world. And I'm just so happy that you're in this space teaching people how to integrate all these things, like, you know, making money, but also how to have great routines throughout your day, great relationship, the mindset piece, the investment piece, the go big piece as well, and really living in your vision. So well done.
Thank you. Amazing. And I appreciate you being so open to, you know, getting your audience to listen to different aspects like this, because I guess I just want to, I mean, I'm working with men so much. So as much as we are trying to encourage the women, I have more men. I have, like, I think it's still 60% now. We've really closed up. We've got more women. Before we were 80% men, you know, so we've improved. Yeah. But I would love, you're right, you know what, women really need to get on this making money bandwagon, because they're not doing enough, you know, and they're not playing the big game. And I'm trying to change that in every little way I can. So thank you, Joel, for helping that process. And men, you guys, I think you're great. And I honestly would love to work with more of you guys. Anyone who, just give me anyone who is really, really ambitious, but more importantly, has the tenacity to grow. They're not going to get knocked down and stay knocked down. I want them to really persevere. If they've got that and they're willing to be coached, everything we do at Fortune Academy is a lifetime. So that's a bonus, because I believe that greatness can't be created overnight. Like, it needs to be nurtured. And I'm there. Every time I grow, I help and improve my mentees. So you know what? I just want to have more incredible people in the Fortune family. So here's to it.
Wonderful stuff. Hither, thank you so much for jumping on the Addicted to Success podcast. Yes, if you're listening right now, watching this, make sure you head over to Instagram and check out Hither. She's got a link there. You can DM her. Her team will get back to you as well. So, you know, very accessible, which is great. A lot of people aren't. So I love that you're putting yourself out there. Hither, we end every last interview with this question here. And this question is, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like?
It would be, well, start with the end in mind. So go to the point of where you're going to leave, because everyone forgets that we're not going to live forever. Ask yourself, who do I want to have been? What kind of effect do I want to have given to the people around me that I cared about or who knew about me? And that's really, really how you create the legacy that you're trying to achieve. Because without that in mind, you're just going to drift like driftwood. So remember who you want to be. Take actions every single day to move one step closer to that. And always look back at where your thought process came from. Once you figure out the root cause of what made you believe what you do, then you can change it. Without that power and knowledge of knowing where it came from, you can't take it out, you see. And that's the problem. We don't want to take the bad stuff with us moving forward in life. So I hope that summarizes it all.